All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barak ala nabina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So inshallah ta'ala, like they made it look nicer. So this is the maybe fourth, is it the fourth lesson, fourth session? So the fourth session in the second phase of the mentorship program. We had broken it down to three phases. And this is, we have to be honest, this is the first run that we've done something like this. So we anticipated to a certain degree that there'll be a little bit of fluctuation in people's feedback, attendance, and how they found it, and that's fine. I'm very used to that, and I don't care. I've given halaqat where there is no one sitting at all, like at all. This is what I was taught. Like you sit and you teach. And I sat, and it happened twice in my life where I sat and no one showed up at all. So I sat and I spoke to the wall. And I remember one of those times, the Farrash, the guy who takes care of the masjid, his name is Hussam, God bless his soul, back in Syria. He walked in the room when I was teaching, and he saw me teaching. Oh, sorry, Sheikh, walks out. And he walks in again, he looks, he's like, there's no one there. I'm like, yeah, that's how. So he actually sat. He said, I felt sorry for you. So he sat and he attended the lesson. But you're taught to teach. If you're there to do something, you do it. Whether people show up or not doesn't make a difference, because it doesn't matter whether people are there or not. You're supposed to take, obviously, feedback and learn if you're not doing a good job, to learn to do a good job. But if you're going to do something, do it. Whether people show up or not makes no difference at all. And I honestly still, I'm glad that I was taught that, because I still do the same thing. I sit up front. If 5 people show up, great. If 50 people show up, 500, it doesn't make a difference. I don't care. Like, whoever's there, I'll speak to them. And if I have something for me to learn to next time to get it done better, then I'll do that, inshallah ta'ala. So this is a little bit of a trial and error, because we don't know how people kind of will respond to certain things. But the way I looked at it is that the first piece of it will be a little bit didactical, more theory, talking about the concepts, the values, the principles, the basic idea. The second piece is a lot of practical aspects of habit building, taking a lot of what we talked about in the theory and learning how to put it into practice. And the third part will be more training, where we actually move to something where we try and train you on certain aspects of what we've done. So this second piece is designed, inshallah ta'ala, to help you build the habits that are supposed to be, in theory, or even in practice, I guess, attached or affiliated or associated with the concepts that we spent time talking about. So we talked about pursuit of knowledge and the concept of iqra. We talked about activism, which is qiyam. We talked about stewardship and service, ubudiyya and istikhlaf. We talked about jihad. We talked about embracing tawheed. We talked about tazkiyah, and we talked about following the Prophet ﷺ appropriately or truly or properly. And these are the 7 building bricks that I think are definitely worthy of contemplation. And if you haven't attended them and this is your first, you just came in for the phase 2, then you have access to these lectures, so you can listen to them. I did them in a prolonged method with a lot of discussion. Then I summarized them at the end as well. So you're welcome to kind of access them all, inshallah ta'ala. Brother Khalid will continue, inshallah, over the next number of weeks. We will take Ramadan off, obviously, because Ramadan is a completely different system altogether. So a lot of the programs that run will stop in Ramadan. Actually, all of them do. Almost everything stops in Ramadan, because it's a completely different system in Ramadan. We run a lot of stuff in Ramadan, but not the same stuff. It's just very different. So we'll continue inshallah to run up to Ramadan. Maybe the week before Ramadan, instead of doing this, we'll do like a pre-Ramadan session or a prep session that both Abu Muhammad and I can kind of work on together. But otherwise, Abu Muhammad will continue to walk through productivity, mental strength, physical wellness, inner peace, and service. I think we're going to be stuck with productivity, I think, well after Ramadan even. So it'll be a little bit of time until we're done that piece. But I won't take more of his time. I'll let Abu Muhammad do his recap on building habits. I'm finding it very helpful. Inshallah, you are as well. And please continue to offer us your feedback as time moves forward. Jazakumullah khair.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So, thank you for coming back. And this is the 4th session of habit building. I thought it's going to be 1 session actually when we started, but it's turning out to be 4. Inshallah, actually I thought it was going to be 3 and we finished last week. But then as I went through the content, I said, this is a tool they need to listen to. And this is another tool that I'd love to share with them. So we'll see how far we get. I'm not going to make any promises in terms of when we're going to finish. You guys are here, we're here. So inshallah, we'll finish whenever we finish. So the objective is to move from theory to practice. You guys have heard this. I love repeating things all the time because that's how they stick in my head. And we talked about how with respect to habits, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the consistent actions, even if they're small. So the point is consistency over intensity. We started with who you want to be. We talked about your identity and how you can form that, and the identity of you, who you want to be, not necessarily who you are right now. Then we talked about the what. What should you, or what can you consider starting? What can you consider stopping? And then we get into how to do that. And we talked about doing things daily and making it sure it's small. Start small and then build outwards. And then reiterate and do things over and over and increment until it becomes something great. And then we talked about the last two things, embracing the process. It will be hard. Nothing that is worthwhile comes very easy. So if we think it's going to be easy, then we ought to stop and reframe that for ourselves. And lastly, we talked about the experimenter mindset. And all that is to simply put a lab coat on when you try something and it doesn't work and you quote unquote fail. That's fine. That's data. That's new data. I tried this, it didn't work. Excellent. Now I know not to try that again and try something else and reiterate until you get to, inshallah, a much better process. So today, we're going to start with celebrations, because I talked to you about celebrations, and I know Muslims don't necessarily like to celebrate or don't know how to celebrate things well. So I want to pause and ask you guys if there's anything that happened last week that you would care to share with us, to say, you know what, I tried to do this thing, and I actually did it, and I was consistent, and I'm happy about it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the tawfiq to be able to do it. So I want to pause and check with everybody here to see if there's one thing we can celebrate together. Is there anything that we've done over the last week that you'd like to share with us that you're proud in a positive sense, not in a narcissistic sense, but in a positive sense because Allah allowed you to do it? Does anybody want to share? I have one, and I put it on a slide, but it's the next slide. But I want to see if you guys want to share anything. Okay, we've got all day. We can wait. So I see two hands up, both from the sisters. So I'll see, the first hand that I saw was Asma, so go ahead. No, she just beat you by a second. Conflict of interest. Unless you allow me to sleep on your couch, I got to go with her first. So Asma. MashaAllah. Excellent work. So yes, MashaAllah. May Allah bless you for that. She started a strength program and she was consistent in it for the last 4 days. May Allah allow you to continue that path, because I know how difficult that is. Dina. MashaAllah. Okay. MashaAllah, that's wonderful. That's very good job. Excellent work, MashaAllah. And push-ups count, whether they're against the wall or a couch or on the ground, they're all perfect, MashaAllah. Anybody from the brothers want to share anything? Or are we going to give all the glory to the sisters? Assalamu alaikum. You want to share something? Go ahead, Ibrahim. Nice, MashaAllah. MashaAllah, excellent. Give him a hand, inshallah. Alf mabruk, MashaAllah. It's interesting that all three of them are physical. I thought maybe we'd do some spiritual or intellectual. Rob has his hand up, so go ahead. MashaAllah, excellent. So for those who don't know, Rob is part of CWC, Quick, and CWC is the Convert Wellness Caravan, which is the convert group that happens here at Wellness. And I see that Sister Sara's there, Marie's there, Sissy's there, and Nicole, I think that's everybody, and we're missing Brother Mike, who is not here with us today. But mashallah, they do wonderful work for the converts. And Brother Robert has a channel, YouTube channel, with 1,500 subscribers that talk about Islam for Europeans. So mashallah, very, very good work. And that doesn't happen, oh sorry, what's the name? Yeah, okay. Oh, nice, mashallah, smart man, excellent, excellent. So you get to sleep at home tonight, not at my house, so that's wonderful. طيب, jazakumullah khair. You know, yes, please. نعم نعم ما شاء الله ما شاء الله MashaAllah, wonderful, wonderful, that's beautiful. So I know where I'm going to spend next Sunday, at your house, if that's allowed. So that's beautiful. Now imagine how you will be 6-10 years from now if you kept this up every Sunday for the next 6 years, 10 years. You're definitely going to be much better than you are right now, and you're starting from a very good point. So mashallah, jazakumullah khair for sharing that. I've got one thing to share with you, and I want you guys to look at this picture. And without saying anything, does anybody know who this gentleman is? Put your hand up if you know who he is. Okay, one person. Okay. So for the people that know who this person is, please don't say anything. So let me tell you about this person. This is a picture back from, I may get my dates wrong, but I believe it's from 2014. And this person was classified as obese. And this is a graduation picture. And he was sitting in class, and he was told that, by the way, it was fall in, I think, 2014. Again, I may get my dates wrong, but it doesn't matter. So he was there in high school, and they said, by the way, there's a summer trip coming up. You know how they have school trips. And what was this summer trip? It was going to be a hiking trip for 3 weeks, I think. Some crazy amount of time. All the class is going to go and do it. And this person said, I'm going to die if I go on that trip, because I can't make it up anything. And at the same time, he thought to himself that I really, really want to go with my friends. So what can I do? So 200 plus pounds, he decided to build a habit. And that habit is to move his weight down. And I don't know how much he ended up being, but he said, I'm just going to take one step forward and see what happens. And he was so earnest and so sincere in his quest and so committed to that why, that he was just simply focusing on taking that next step and reducing 1 pound at a time, 1 pound at a time. And you've heard those stories before. You see the before and the after. But this is actually a live example. And within the summer, so from the fall to the summer, the person dropped about 40 pounds. 40 pounds. Now, some people may say, oh my God, that's not even healthy. But he did it. And he dropped 40 pounds, and then what happened? He was able to participate, and this is a live story. This is a real story. We're not making this up. He was able to participate in the event and in the summer trip and had such a great time. But then he had a bonus. What's that bonus? He had momentum going. It was so easy to continue taking one step at a time and lose a pound and another pound and another pound. And eventually he lost more than 70 pounds. And this is the after picture. Does anybody know who this person is now? This person is actually sitting with us right now. This person is Sarmad. And if you don't mind putting your hand up, I'm putting you on the spot. So a big round of applause for Sarmad, please. And just the before and after should be super inspiring. When I talked to him and I saw it, I said, please, I beg you, I want to share it with everybody. And he was such a nice sport to do that. So Jazakallah khair, we celebrate him, we celebrate all of you. And remember, the celebration is not narcissistic. It's not check me out, look how amazing I am, look how much money I have in the bank. Absolutely not. It's a celebration of Allah's mercy on us to give us that drive to come forward to him. So that's how we celebrate. طيب, I'm going to give you a bunch of tools and we're going to do a few exercises and we'll try to finish today, but if we don't, we've got all year together. So the tool that we started, and I kind of went through very, very quickly last time, and we are going to play a video in a second. It's the next slide, so you don't need to do anything. But the tool is WOOP. I love the acronym. Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, Plan. Layal, assalamu alaikum. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Is your brother here? No? Okay, khair, inshallah. Do send my parents my salam, please. طيب, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. What is this tool for? It basically tells you to have a goal, and why is that goal super important? But then to realize that life is going to hit you in the face. When life hits you in the face, what is it that you're going to do? Well, you're going to think about that before life hits you in the face, and that's how you prepare for the problem before it happens. When it happens, you just get into execution mode. So let's listen together. Gabriel Oettingen, who came up with this tool, how it's described and how we can learn from it, inshallah. So let's listen together if we can. And you may need to, yeah, thank you.
Gabriel Oettingen has uncovered the surprising science of positive thinking, why it doesn't work in her book, Rethinking Positive Thinking. The premise is simple. But if instead of only thinking positive thoughts when it comes to our future goals, we should actively associate the obstacles that can get in our way with that future reality. She's even given us a handy acronym to remember what to do. W is for wish. Think about something you want to accomplish in your life. One-year goal or one-day goal or anything in between. O is for outcomes. Think about all the great things that might happen if you achieve that wish. Be as vivid and detailed as you can. The second O is for obstacles. Think of all the bad things that could happen to get in the way of you achieving your wish. P is for plan. Now, take all of the obstacles you identified and come up with a plan for overcoming them when they inevitably arise. Repeat this for whatever goals and dreams you want to accomplish.
So basically the point here is this is a tool that can be used on something so mundane, so small as, you know, I want to be able to get up for Fajr tomorrow. Obviously the goal is pretty profound. Getting up for Fajr should be one of the most important things that we try to do every day. But it's small. It's not building a business or graduating or getting married or what have you. You could use this tool for both. Either it's small or grandiose or somewhere in between. And you start simply with what is it that you wish to accomplish? You know, big vision, I want to be here, I want to accomplish this. Beautiful, but don't just live there, because the moment you just think about the positives, it actually ends up being counterproductive. And when life hits you in the face, and you know it will, you end up giving up. You recoil and you walk away. So the next step, when you think about your wish and the outcome, is to say, okay, what are the obstacles? And I didn't say what is the obstacle. I said, what are the obstacles? Because there's going to be 100 obstacles that come in your way. The bigger, the more grandiose the wish, the many more obstacles you have. Now, this happens really well with a pen and a paper. To think and say, okay, I want to get up for Fajr tomorrow. Excellent. Beautiful. Why? Because I'm going to feel connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to have a great day. I'm not going to feel guilty that I slept in. That's your outcome. Excellent. What is the obstacle? Well, I may not sleep on time. I may be tempted to eat late when I get home after mentorship because I'm hungry or because I'm bored. I may go on the Xbox just for 5 minutes. That ends up being 2 hours and I sleep really, really late. Or I may get up in the morning and not feel like it. Or it may be too cold. Or I may be tired. Whatever those obstacles are, okay, write them down. There could be 1, there could be 50. And then plan. Okay, if I get home and I know I shouldn't be eating, what is my plan to avoid eating at night? So maybe it's simply to empty all your fridge from food before you leave to mentorship. Eat all your food. That way, when you come home, there's nothing to eat. I'm silly, of course. But two, it could be, okay, when I get home, I want to be able to sleep. Okay, I'm going to unplug the internet before I go to mentorship. That way, when I come back, I'm not tempted to get online. You come up with the plan for your obstacles. You know what those plans are. And then when you get home, and if you happen to not be hungry and not be tempted to get online, perfect. You don't need to execute the plan. But you know, when you're hungry, you just go to that plan book and say, if I'm hungry, I know what the plan was for that obstacle, and you simply execute. So that's what we call WOOP, and it's pretty cool. You can do that very, very quickly. You don't need an hour to plan. You can do it in your mind on any simple thing. For example, I'm going to go out and give a talk in front of a whole bunch of people. Okay, why? Why is that important? Because maybe I'm going to help one person to actually close the gap between who they are and where they can get to. Well, what are the obstacles that can happen? Oh, I may get into my head and I may start stressing about the content and how to deliver it. Well, what's my plan? If that happens, okay, I'm going to pause, I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to renew my intention. Boom, there's your WOOP. You just simply execute when that happens. It could be that simple. طيب, we're going to get into a group exercise, and you guys are all going to do this WOOP. So if you allow me, and Muhammad perfectly timed it, he's like Gandalf. He's going to split you up into groups, and I want you guys to answer. If you could start a new habit, that's the question. If you could start a new habit that you are going to continue for the rest of your life until you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the parameter. This is a big deal now, because now you can't skip this. So if that is the goal, until you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what would that be? So in your groups, you guys get to choose. Whether it's exercising, reading Quran, studying, whatever you want to do, you guys pick that. I'm not going to give it to you. You guys are going to come up with it. But then the next question is, why did you pick that specific habit? Ask yourself, okay, we said we're going to do push-ups on the wall every day for the rest of our life. Why? Is it easy? Is it important? What benefits does it give you? That's the second thing. The third is, what do you think will get in the way? What will hit you in the face, basically? And number four, what is your plan for overcoming those obstacles? If you're able to do that, you've just exercised WOOP. And hopefully when you do that together, next time something else comes up, you're able to go through that framework on your own. So, yes, there is a question, Nauman. So in your group, you guys could come up with whatever. It may be new to you or kind of recently started for you, and Rob may say, I've never heard of this before, or he may say, I already do this. So it doesn't really matter, but in a group, you guys come up with something that you can run through this algorithm. Now, if it's a habit that you've done before, but haven't used WOOP on, you can still use that, because probably you just came up with, I'm going to do push-ups, and that's great. But that I'm forcing you in a way to think about the three other aspects of the outcome, the obstacle, and the plan. Does that make sense? Any other questions before we kick off? Perfect. So, Muhammad, over to you.
Guys are good to just 6 to 8 people. Just grab a group beside you. So up here, you guys come together. In the middle over here. Maybe 2 groups on the wall. Just maybe divide in the middle, and then just. And sisters, you guys just turn around. 6 to 8 people, inshallah. And then seems like there's more sisters than brothers. Assalamu alaikum. How many people need more time? Almost done? Can we designate a speaker for each group and we'll give you maybe 1 or 2 minutes? Designated speaker.
Yeah, I saw you. Khair, inshallah. طيب, جزاكم الله khair. We're going to bring it back in. And what we need is we're going to get you guys all to share with us. Remember, WOOP. Okay, we're still kind of full in energy. So let's take a second. I guess you guys want to do a breathing exercise now. That's your punishment. If you don't bring it down, we're going to do a breathing exercise. So, Jazakumullah khair for taking that time. We're going to assign, or you guys assign amongst yourself a speaker. And the speaker is going to... We'll wait for Rama until she's done. Yes, she's done. Excellent. Sorry to put you on the spot. So you're going to run through the WOOP exercise. You're going to tell us what your wish is for the habit. I'm going to start X, or we're going to start X. And then you're going to go and tell us what the outcome, why you pick that. And then finally, what the obstacle and what the plan is. Make sense? We'll start with the sisters. Tell us who your name is, whoever has the mic, and then run through the WOOP, please. Yeah. Yes, you guys can go.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
My
salam.
name is Kafaya.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
I think all of us, we agreed on Salah, praying on time.
Okay.
And there might be obstacles that maybe in a meeting or that time of the day you are not able to do it, maybe work. So some of the sisters said, make a priority, put it right in front of your desk, sticky tack, or put it in your calendar. If it's now prayer time, dhuhr time, you cannot go into a meeting. I need to pray now.
Beautiful. Now, may I ask you, and you said your name was Kifaya?
Yeah.
Kifaya. So what was the outcome? Why did you want to pick prayer? Why did you pick prayer? What was the benefit of picking prayer? Obvious, but I want to hear it from you guys.
Okay. You want to take? Okay. I guess the obvious is prayer is basically it fulfills and satisfies us as a person, and that it basically is everything as a Muslim.
Naam. Naam. Excellent. Jazakallah khair. I wanted to highlight that because it's important. Go ahead.
Sorry, one more point. Also, like, provide structure for the day too. Like,
Naam.
it
Absolutely.
it gives you structure, and also like it is good like for your body as well. Like
Naam.
it's like meditation in a way, as so it's like all in one.
Naam.
Kind of.
That's your why.
Yeah.
You're doing it because of all these 3, 4, 5 things. That a stronger why makes for a stronger outcome. That's why we focus on outcomes. Thank you very much for that. Brothers, who's speaking? Adnan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Wa alaikum assalam wa
barakatuh.
rahmatullah.
So, as the brother mentioned, my name is Adnan. The habit that we picked as a group is one that kind of isn't more of a religious matter, but just personally, sleeping on time and getting an adequate amount of sleep. So sleeping at an appropriate time. And why I picked it is because it has a lot of benefits to you, as well as religious benefits as well. Being able to wake up at a proper time, 30 minutes before Fajr, so you're able to pray Tahajjud, praying Fajr as well on time, and not being like too tired because you got a decent amount of sleep. What I think that some obstacles that will come in the way is basically a lack of discipline or a lack of time management. And obviously, yeah, so like also cell phones, which also falls under discipline as well.
Qiyam.
Yes,
Oh,
qiyam, yes, as
interesting.
well.
Qiyam can be an obstacle.
No, like it's like it's a benefit, like it's the
Okay.
why. Yeah,
But
sorry.
Qiyam can be an obstacle too, by the way. That's interesting. Do you know how it can be?
How so?
Because if you stay up at night praying and you go gung ho and you do like 3 hours of Qiyam, what's the likelihood that you're going to be refreshed and ready to go again at 5 or 6 in the morning? So I like how you put tahajjud in there just before, half an hour before, which is beautiful. Just keep in mind that if you stay up late, then without training, some people can do that, but without training, if you stay up late doing whatever, including qiyam, and that makes you miss fajr, that needs to be looked at.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because one thing that we actually did discuss is the importance of living like a scheduled life,
No.
of having a routine. And the one thing about having a routine is that once you do it more and more day by day, you actually get more used to it, right? And so eventually, you know, even if you do stay up for qiyam, your body and your mind is already, you know,
Absolutely.
used to waking up to
Absolutely.
at 6, a couple hours later for Fajr, right?
No.
So it's one of those things that it has to build up over time, which is why I think it's a journey. That's why it's a very important thing. Another thing for number 2 is that a lot of people, especially I'm gonna speak as like for myself as a student, waking up late. Often I wake up very overwhelmed because I feel like I don't have enough hours in the day to do my studying and to do everything I want to do, right? Because I want to be able to pray, but also study, but also do like read Quran, like also educate myself Islamically. And I feel like if I don't get a good amount of sleep, not only will I be too tired, but I'll also, I don't know, I just won't have enough time
No.
to do all of that,
No.
right? So I think that's another reason why that's also important. And I guess for number 4, like I mentioned, the biggest thing to be able to overcome those obstacles is developing a routine,
No.
so that inshallah you eventually get used to it.
So your plan is to put a routine in
Yeah.
place. That way, when the life hits you in the face, you go back to your routine and
Yep.
stick to that.
Yep.
Beautiful. One thing I'll add, very well said, Jazakumullah khair, both of you. One thing I will add is, you know what you said in the beginning that, yeah, we didn't pick an Islamic thing, we picked sleep. Fine, I get it, but actually I see them being exactly the same. Whether it's sleep or prayer, they're all, if done correctly, fi sabilillah. Why are you trying to sleep early? So you can commit yourself to being the best person that you can be, the best Muslim you can be, so you can serve Allah's creation the best way and close the gap between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why do I say that? And sometimes I use examples that have nothing to do with anything, like going swimming. What does that have to do with Islam? It has everything to do with Islam with the proper intention. The dichotomy disappears. The two lives, I'm Muslim and I'm something else, disappears once you think that way. You can absolutely do worship, although it's not in the masjid. Your studying can be considered worship. Your going to work can be considered worship. You feeding your wife, as the Prophet ﷺ said, that could be considered sadaqah for you. Because the mentality is everything that I do is to get me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We've been taught Islam, I've been taught Islam, that it's narrow focused. It's salah, siyam, zakat, hajj. Those things, yes, that's worship. Everything else is dunya. Yeah, it can be dunya with no intention, but with the proper intention, absolutely it can be Islamic at the same time. Jazakallah khair, Adnan, for sharing. And next, sisters. Yes. Tell us who your name is and what you'd like to share, please. Whoop.
I'm Jordy.
Jordy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We also chose sleep.
Okay.
And we chose to have a minimum of 7 hours of sleep, especially for teenagers and students in high school, because we find it very overwhelming with school. Social media can keep us up at night, like being on our phones. Jobs, like work, can get in the way, especially like working night shifts and then having to come back and then wake up early to go to school.
No.
And something that came up with many coping mechanisms and things that can help overcome our obstacles, such as putting our phones away 90 minutes before going to bed, meditating, journaling, having a healthy diet and exercise, which can help in the long run with sleep, and drinking lots of water and staying hydrated throughout the day.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing, Jordi. So what I want to focus on, a lot of good stuff there, but the wish is I want to go to sleep. I want to be able to dial in my sleep. And the obstacles I'm going to be on, and why? Because I'm going to feel great the next day. The obstacle is Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever you guys are connected to. And then the plan is when I get tempted, I'm going to put my phone away for 90 minutes before I go to sleep. Beautiful. It's really amazing, very well articulated. The only thing I would add is it may be very difficult if you're not used to putting your phone away 90 minutes before going to bed to start implementing that right away. So could you, I would ask kind of rhetorically, could you do it 1 minute before going to bed? Just 1 minute. Usually most people kind of look at it, they're done, they put it down and they fall asleep. Okay, can you separate 1 minute between the time you look at it and the time you go to sleep? And you're going to say, what's 1 minute? Of course I can do that. 1 minute is easy. Start easy. Silly small. But the 1 minute can become 3. The 3 can become 5. The 5 can become 10. And you see where I'm going with this. But to say tonight, I'm going to go home and set it 90 minutes before, you probably will be successful. You came from your friends and all this energy in this room, you'll be successful today. But talk to me a week from now, like next Monday, you're probably very difficult to keep that up for 4 or 5 days in a row because it's such a high standard. But it's an amazing standard regardless. Jazakallah khair. Brothers here. Yes. Wa'il. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
My name is Wael, and in our group we discussed so the habit we want to like start doing is praying all the sunnahs,
Nice.
and we picked this habit, and brother Adnan said all of this stuff. He summarized it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna restate some things. So we realized the importance of following the sunnah of the Prophet
Alayhi salam.
and sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this would just help us get closer to Allah. Some obstacles in the way. Like a lot of us tend to have bad sleeping habits.
Mhm.
So we sleep in and miss Fajr prayer sometimes. Praying Asha late, you know. We can overcome this by praying on time, fixing our sleep schedule. Yeah.
Beautiful. So if then implementation intention, I'll jump to this piece. Basically, when you say, I want to pray on time, I want to pray the sunnahs, why may you not pray the sunnahs? Because Asha, let's pick Asha as an example. It's getting, the end of the day, and it's like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and you're like, I can pray later, I can play later, and then it's time to go to sleep. How is the quality of your prayer, and will you be doing sunnah or not at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning? Allahu alam. But imagine if it's a if then. If Aisha comes in, if my clock or my watch says or my phone says it's time for Aisha, I know I have 12 hours to pray it, if you take that opinion, fiqhi opinion. But if Aisha comes, right away I'm going to make wudu and pray. Imagine how would that be? Very difficult to do, I get it, if you've never done that before. But if it becomes a habit, it's second nature to you. Oh, it's Dhuhr time, it's Isha time, you make wudu and pray. Which is what you do for Maghrib. You see, it seems hard, but you do this for Maghrib every single day. Why? Because the time is so short. You don't have an hour and a half to 2 hours to pray it. If you don't pray it right when it comes in, you've missed it. So you know how to do that. You just choose not to do it for Isha, which is cool, which is fine. Reprogram your brain to say, I'm going to treat Isha like I treat Maghrib and work towards it. Thank you for that share. Sisters. And then we'll get to Muhammad. Oh, you have a question? Go. Okay. Ayal, go ahead.
Is it on? Okay.
Yes, it's on.
So our group picked doing dhikr after our salah.
Okay.
We picked it because we felt obviously it would bring us closer to Allah, and it's kind of this micro habit that we can implement.
Beautiful.
That just reminds us of Allah, and it's kind of that little extra step after our salah. Some obstacles we thought was obviously time. If you're in a rush or whatever, you're not going to do something that's not fard, and it's also adds into that temptation because it's not fard, we might not have to do it, and it'll
Yep.
kind of, we'll get distracted, which
Yep.
is another one of our obstacles.
Yep.
Distractions. If you're around your friends and you're like, okay, wait, let me pray, and then you come back, you're not going to do your dhikr. So our plan for overcoming that was kind of planning out your day, and when you allot a time for salah, also add a few 2, 3, 5 extra minutes for your dhikr, and kind of having an app that reminds you to do it. And to make it even more accessible, if you don't have an app or anything like that, just adding like a little sticky note on your salah mat, just to remind you to go that little extra step.
No, beautiful. Beautiful. Very well said. Muhammad, you had a question.
Guys, quick question. I know it's not a fifth class, but I just want to
Yes.
ask anyway.
Sheikh Adnan's in the back, so you can go ask him.
You know how you guys celebrating?
No.
Would you consider this? Your dad?
Celebrating?
Yes, as a group thing to celebrate. How does everyone do it?
Interesting. So, do you consider it a bid'ah? That is, yeah, good question. So, a bid'ah, we'd have to break it down. That's something associated with acts of worship. So, if you pray Asr, 2 rak'at after every Asr for the rest of your life, that becomes a bid'ah because that's something that the Prophet ﷺ never really did. But when we're talking about celebration, it's recognizing that Allah's favor upon you to allow you to do something that will bring you closer to Him. So there's lots of evidence for that in our deen, and you're not doing something prescriptive in the sense that saying, okay, after every salah, I'm going to sit there and start dancing and celebrating my salah. Although even if you did that, feeling good because Allah allowed you to pray, that would be considered fine. Wallahu a'lam. For the technicalities of halal haram, you would need to ask Sheikh Adnan for that. But I don't see any issues with it, with celebrating in general. 2 more groups, sisters and brothers, and then we'll move to the next topic. Yes, who's going to take the mic?
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, 2 separate groups. So you guys will go right after each other. Who's got the mic? Okay, sorry. Muhammad is going to tell us who's next.
I have the microphone. Sorry, I don't know if the boys are supposed to have
I think that, let them go and then you're next, inshallah. Go ahead, quick.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Darwish. So we did praying on time, and we focused on Fajr specifically. Why? For obvious reasons, I think other people have mentioned already, because it's part of Islam. It's fard. It's something that makes us feel good about doing. How to do it? Because there's a lot of like sleeping late, waking up later. So we said we focus more on waking up. So we said setting an alarm without snooze, moving the alarm away from you so you can't just turn it off and stay asleep. Such as, for example, for me, sometimes I'll put it like next to the sink. That way you're already there. You can make wudu and then just continue to your fajr right away, and then you're already awake. So you just stay up and yeah, that's it.
That's beautiful. I've never heard that before. Actually, put your alarm clock by the sink because you walk to it and you're already there. Might as well go ahead and make wudu. So thank you for sharing that. Yes, go ahead.
We had the same point. So our habit that we wanted to work on is consistently waking up and praying Fajr. And we discussed that this is a really important habit, not only spiritually, but it's good because it gives you structure to your day. So we talked about like waking up for Fajr and actually starting your day then. And, a lot of successful people and people who just have their life put together, if you ask them anything, they're just like, yeah, waking up early is the key because you have so many more hours in the day. What are sort of some things that can get in the way? The main thing we talked about is like sleeping early. So the plan that we discussed to help you wake up for Fajr is just kind of like divide and conquer. So if you have, if you to wake up for Fajr early, you need to sleep early so that you're not feeling tired and you have the energy and blah, 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 so you can start your day. So if you can just sleep earlier, put your phone away even 5 minutes before you go to sleep, etc. So.
Very well said. Jazakumullah khair. It's interesting how some people think the day starts with the first thing you do in the morning. Your day actually starts the night before. The night before is what determines what happens the next day. Because somebody said, I think Jody said, I think I got your name right, maybe Jordy, sorry, 7 hours. It's actually 7 to 9 for adults. And if you're younger, it's more than that. And one of the things, since we're on the sleep topic, for some reason, I grew up thinking that a lot of sleep is bad. It's a sign that you're lazy and you're not productive, and a da'iyah doesn't sleep that long, and so on and so forth. And you should get away with 4 and 5 hours of sleep. And for the longest time, I know my wife's not here, the longest time, I'd get into this fights with my wife saying, oh, you guys sleep too much. We gotta sleep 6 hours and go, go, go. And then you get into the science of it and you realize how destructive it is to a human body to sleep little and continue to do that for the longest time. And I would say, you know, if you're up at night, say working on bringing back Palestine or saving the dolphins, you're doing something productive, maybe we'll have a conversation. But most of us, ask yourself at 11 o'clock at night, what is it that you're doing? Just don't answer me, ask yourself. And most of us are probably wasting time. And if you're able to increase that sleep time, what happens is you've cut away the fat. You're basically cutting away the things that are not really productive in your life and allowing yourself to get the rest that will give you energy to do what's most important. Brothers, I think the last group, and then we'll move to the next section. Who has the mic? Tell us who you are and please share.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Khalid, and the habit we chose is waking up at 5 in the morning every day.
Nice.
And the reason why we chose is wake up at 5 in the morning, you get like a head start of everyone. You get to like finish your tasks, pray Fajr on time, pray 2 rak'ahs before Fajr, eat like a good breakfast, have your time, you know, like planning your day, meditating, finishing your schoolwork, work on a business, read a book, exercise. And because like when you wake up late, you have like a feeling of like, oh, I missed out. I should have wake up early and like work on this task that I should be doing instead of just like sleeping. How do I think it's gonna get in the way is let's say waking up early means you're gonna have to sleep early, and sometimes it's hard to sleep early, especially when you have like a side job or like school. And when it's Ramadan, it's hard to like wake up at 5 in the morning and just like stay up like the whole day. Like you're gonna be exhausted by like Maghrib. And for the plan, we didn't come up with like a specific plan, but it's just like set an alarm and let it happen.
Okay, so set an alarm and let it happen. I would argue that's not the best of plans, but it is a plan, absolutely. So a stronger plan may be to not start by 5 o'clock. If you usually wake up at 7, can you wake up at 6:45? Can you wake up by 6:50 or 6:30 or what have you, and gradually work yourself back to 5 o'clock? Perhaps that's a plan that will work out better. But you know, set an alarm is a plan. It may not be the best, but you try it. And if it worked for you, if you're able to set an alarm and start sleeping at 5, perfect. That's your plan and it'll work. Just know that you need to reiterate that and iterate through as many times as you need to get your plan right. So thank you all for sharing. Do you guys know what this is? That's what it says. Perfect. So you can read. Excellent. Sorry, I got to pick on these guys. So a Rubik's Cube. Has anybody solved one before in their life? Put your hand up if you did. Okay. We have mainly sisters, some brothers. For those who have solved it before, how long did it take you? Oh, wow, you're crazy. Like consistently or one time in your life? Okay, so other than Aboud, go ahead, Enes. 9 minutes. Sisters, just shout it out. Long time, Sarah says. Yes? I can't hear you. No, to solve it. Like if I throw you one now and you solve it, how long will it take you? 30? Whew. Yeah, I'm with Layal there. Brothers, how long? A minute 30. So calming down. I heard 30 seconds, 60 seconds, a minute, 39 minutes, really long time. Let's see what these guys, I would have said 2 hours for me. I said, give me 2 hours, I'll get it solved. Some people can do it in 20 minutes, some people 2. I think that's crazy. 2 minutes? Like from scratch. This gentleman's name is John Pons. He's from France. Let's see how long it'll take him to solve it. So he inspects it, puts it down, then they time him. That was back in 2011. That was the world record at the time. So it took him 11.75 seconds. Anybody impressed by this? I was super impressed by this. Maybe I'm a nerd. But imagine, do you think anybody can beat that time? You think so? So let's see, go to the next video. Next video, please. Now, watch Felix, how he's gonna beat his time, but there's a twist. He's gonna beat 11.75 with one hand. $11.46, one hand. If I told you this without the video, you probably wouldn't believe me. I'm going somewhere with this. Now, actually, that wasn't the world record. There's something even faster. How long, what do you think the world record is? So, let's go to the next video and see. If you hit play, Ali. Okay, let's do it again. Sorry, there's some new. Sorry about the yelling. So 5.25 seconds. Now, why am I showing you these videos? Because this is what habits is all about. Habits is about doing something over and over and over and over until you become amazing at it. He wasn't born this way. Collins wasn't born this way, who did it 5 seconds. Let's see how it was for him. If you can hit play again, please.
This is Colin nearly 5 years ago. World records are not built in a day.
So 35.96, still amazing for somebody his age, but that's where he started. He started probably at 10 minutes. And then 5 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and then 56 seconds, and then eventually 5. So the question for you is, you know how you wanted to sleep early? You wanted to get up for Fajr. You wanted to pray on time, and you wanted to do your sunnah. Absolutely possible. Very hard right now if you say, oh, I'm going to pray every single sunnah for the rest of my life. It may seem daunting. Just like if I give you a Rubik's Cube and I say you've got 5 seconds to solve it. You're going to say it's impossible. It's not impossible. It's really, really hard. But when you do it consistently through habitual action that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and rewards you for doing it with the proper intention, sleep becomes ibadah, you'll get to where you need to get to. The question is, will you have the patience or not? So next tool is anchor behavior celebration. We're not going to have time to do this, but I'll walk you through what this tool is all about. when you want to start that sleep habit or praying on time or praying your sunnah, what a really good method of doing it is ABCs. ABCs, anchor, behavior, celebration. So when you want to start something, try to tag it on, pick an anchor, something that you do already. All of us have things that we do on a regular basis. What do I do when I get up? I get up in the morning after I do my thing and I do my prayer and so on and so forth. I sit down and I cherish this time. I sit down and I drink a cup of tea every morning when I can do that, when I'm there, when I'm at home and so on and so forth. And it'd be really nice if my spouse is there and we have a tea together. So I do that every time. So what can I anchor to something that I already programmatically do in my head? Well, we talked about it last time. I got to hit the kettle as it boils. And that takes what, a minute or two? So I've got 2 minutes. I know I'm going to hit the kettle every single morning. Tomorrow I'm going to hit it too. So when I go and hit it, what do I do for those 2 minutes? Perhaps I could do a push-up. Where's Dina? Do a push-up while the water's, she left. But maybe you can tell her the message. Maybe that's when you could do your push-up. Maybe that gives you 2 minutes to do istighfar or adhkar. You sit down and you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or you do your deep breathing, or you journals, or write a thank you letter or a thank you text to your mom or to your wife or what have you. You're doing these things anyway. Anchor them or pick an anchor and do that new thing that you want to add. So that's the A. The B is the behavior. So anchor is I get up, I hit the boiling of the water. The behavior, automatic, I'm going to go do push-ups. So that's how they go together. And then the C is celebration. Celebration is key. Again, I know we're asking questions. Is it bid'ah? Is it right? Should I be doing this? Celebration, what the science tells us, is one of the quickest ways to implement something in our neural pathway. That's why we eat chocolate. Some of us eat chocolate because we're in a bad mood and we need that sugar rush. We eat it, we get the high again, we feel great. We associate that with eating chocolate. Or some people, may Allah relieve them of that problem when they smoke. They feel, oh, I smoke, I relax. No, they don't necessarily relax. It just gives them that celebration in their mind. That's why they go and do that. It's going to kill them, but they do that every single time because it's a mini celebration in their body. So the more you can celebrate as intensely and as quickly as you can, the more it's going to stick in your brain. And then you end up seeking that celebration, so you go and do the behavior anyway. Really, I told you this last time. That's why I go swim. It's very cold. Who wants to be wet when it's minus 50 degrees outside? But I know how great I'm going to feel afterwards, so that's what I'm seeking. That's why I go to the pool, because I know that celebration is coming. So that's the ABC. Next week, what we're going to do, we're going to stop now, but next week, we're going to start with this group exercise. And there's a habit list. It's either memorize Quran, run a marathon, lose 30 pounds, become a Sharia scholar, learn to swim, obtain a PhD, pray with khushu' every single time, or conquer your fear of public speaking. I'm going to ask you guys to pick one of these, and then you're going to run it through the ABC framework, and then we'll see how that happens to you. So we've got 3 minutes left. We're going to stop now, but take one question before we stop. Sorry?